Hello, welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd, and you were watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm back with another update coming out from the war between Russia and Ukraine, and I've got lots of big news I'd like to share with all of you today. So today's date is January 17th, 2025, and it's Friday. Hope you're all getting ready for your weekend. Happy Friday to everybody out there, and welcome back to the channel. So we've got lots of news to cover in today's update. But we're going to have to start off with more oil depot news. As you can see here on your screen, Russian oil depots continue burning days after Ukrainian UAV strikes. This is video footage coming out from the Angles oil depot called the Combinat Crystal. Okay, Combinat Crystal oil depot was hit about 4 days ago. This was a double tap strike, okay? It literally just got hit a week and a half ago. Then it got hit again by UAV drones coming from Ukraine. This thing has been burning once again for 4 more days. So it's been about week and a half, almost 2 weeks of consistent fires over here at this Angles oil depot. Okay, this is a very important oil depot for the Angles 2 air base that is used for Russia's strategic bomber fleet. And it looks like they're going to be lacking fuel supplies over here very soon. We also have reports that the Lisky oil depot that was hit just the last day or so, also still on fire. I've got video footage confirming that as well today. So pretty insane, okay? These oil depots still continuing to burn days after they've already been hit. So we'll talk about all that starting out the video. And then we've also got some information that a radar station for the S-400 complex was apparently destroyed somewhere either in eastern Ukraine or inside of Russia. We had a confirmed strike from Ukraine's general staff of the armed forces. So they were claiming that today, okay? An entire anti-aircraft battalion was wiped out, apparently. So we had this radar station that was destroyed, also some equipment and machinery reportedly being damaged. So we'll go over that report here in just a little bit. Then also some major attacks to report inside of Ukraine today. The city of Kryvyi Rih, once again being hammered. I believe it got hit by missiles today. We've got video footage. There have been some injuries and some people reportedly dying in this attack, unfortunately. Very sad situation over there. Kryvyi Rih has been getting hit very hard recently over the past few weeks. We've been showing multiple videos and pictures coming out from there. So I've got another story to go over there as well. Also an attack inside of Kiev. Lots of reports to cover today. So let's go ahead and jump right into this, guys. We're going to hop on over to X, okay? No mainstream news to cover today in today's video, but we'll hop in here to War Translated Dmitry. The fire at the oil depot in the Lisky district of Voronezh Oblast has spread to 2,800 square meters, and it is being extinguished under the highest level of difficulty. The depot caught fire following a successful strike by the Defense Forces on January 16th. Apparently, they can't extinguish it and are simply waiting for it to burn out. Okay, pretty crazy story here, all right? This thing is still continuing to burn. We just talked about this. I believe it was yesterday when we covered this. This got hit the night before. Still is on fire. Looks like they can't put this flame out. We've kind of seen this with a lot of these oil depots many times. The firefighter crews can't even put them out. I mean, it's oil. It's very hard to put out oil. It burns so hot. So a lot of times they have to just let these things burn, and hopefully they don't spread to other tanks. And we have seen that happen with some oil depots in the past inside of Russia, where these fires will continue burning, spreading to other tanks, eventually destroying, 3 or 4 at a time or more. So that was a new video coming out today. Also from Max24, the fire at the oil depot in Lisky has grown. There are now 4 fuel tanks burning there. There are no hydrants nearby, so water is being brought in by trucks, and fire trains are also being used. Okay, so that apparently appears to be another reason why they can't put out this flame, because they can't get any water over here, okay? If they have to transport, truckloads of water, then, they're going to need a lot of water to put this thing out. So here's a new video coming out today from Russia in Lisky, showing this thing still on fire, 30 seconds long. Take a look. All right, so this is a good example of what happens when the fire crews can't put out these flames. So yesterday it was reported that at least one or two of these tanks were on fire, and if you notice here, they've got anti-drone cages on them. Okay, we reported that yesterday that apparently this entire facility was fitted with anti-drone cages, and even though they've got these protective cages on them, the drones were still able to penetrate at least one oil tank caught on fire. Now we can see four of them, according to this information, have been destroyed. Okay, so pretty insane news. Also from Anton Gerashenko, fourth day of the oil depot in Engels, Saratov region of Russia burning after a second attack. Local authorities assure that burning area has decreased. Thought you'd enjoy the view, friends. So we've got a 6-second clip now of the Engels oil depot. This is the Combinat Crystal oil depot inside the city of Engels in the Saratov region that we reported about probably 5 days ago, 4 days ago, as it was hit in a double tap strike. It also got hit about a week and a half ago. Then soon after, about 4 or 5 days later, got hit again by Ukrainian drones right when they were about to put the flames out from the previous attack. So take a look at this. All right, so extremely fierce fire at this facility. This is the same video that I showed you guys on the waiting screen when you came in. Just wanted to get that full screen with a little bit of sound. You can see people completely panicking here. The fire crews trying to control this blaze. I mean, look at this thing just spreading like crazy, guys. So I wouldn't be surprised by the time this thing is completely done burning out, that 50% of this facility or more is completely destroyed. I think it's at least 20 or 30% destroyed right now. So very crazy news. Now moving on to Bliskovka, the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine reported the successful defeat of the positions of the anti-aircraft battalion of the 568th Regiment of the Russian Army. Radar station 92H6 of the S-400 complex was destroyed. Missile launchers also hit the positions of the 336th Regiment Radio Battalion. Equipment and machinery were damaged. Okay, so I don't know what was used in this strike. I don't know if this was ATACMS. My guess is probably HIMARS, because if it was ATACMS or like Storm Shadow or something, we probably would have heard more reports on this. It wouldn't just be a simple report coming out from Ukraine's general staff stating that they destroyed something. So I don't know, maybe it was drones. We don't really know what type of munitions were used, but it looks like a pretty major radar station for the S-400 air defense complex was destroyed on the Russian side. Okay, and these things are very expensive, so that's a massive loss for the Russians. And we've been reporting a lot of these radars being destroyed, even down in Crimea recently. So now on to next break-in. Russians attacked Kryvyi Rih. It is reported that at least 4 people died as a result of the attack. An educational institution and residential buildings were damaged. Okay, so this is that new attack today in Kryvyi Rih. I believe this was due to missiles because of how much damage we're going to see here. But an 8-second clip of a massive attack in Kryvyi Rih today. Take a look. All right, very horrible to have to report this once again, but we can see here, looks like some sort of educational institution. I'm assuming it's this building right here. All these residential buildings, like 2 of them got hit directly, this corner and the other corner over there. Absolutely massive attack today inside of Ukraine. And, you know, this is Vladimir Zelensky's hometown, and it's been hammered a lot recently. I'm not quite sure why this town is being targeted so much. I'm not sure if there's lots of Ukrainian presence here. If you guys have any information on that, Ukrainian military presence, excuse me, I'm not sure if there's a lot of troops here in this city, and maybe that's why Russia's targeting it. Or is it just, you know, Russia continuously bombing cities and trying to terrorize civilians? I mean, it looks like it maybe could be a little bit of both, but I don't know for sure, as we've seen at Kryvyi Rih being attacked so much. So if you guys have any information on that, I would appreciate if you share down in the comments if you know if there's heavy presence of the Ukrainian military here, because that would kind of make sense if there is a lot of attacks happening here. But aside from that, if it's not the military being targeted, then, well, we know it's just innocent civilians being hit. So also from Bliskovka and Kryvyi Rih, 2 5-story buildings were damaged according to the regional military administration. A fire broke out in one of them. The unused building was also damaged. The survey of the affected area is ongoing. According to the updated information, 5 people were injured. So here's some more pictures coming out from this area also showing major damage to 5-story buildings. These are just regular apartment complexes. We can see a lot of these buildings being blown out here, or windows, excuse me. Lots of debris here on the bottom as well, on the floor. Looks like there was even a fire here that probably started to break out as well. So very sad to have to report this, guys, but I want to let you know what's going on over here inside of Ukraine. They're still being hit very hard at times. So from Anton Gerashenko now, a home is on fire in Kiev region after a drone attack tonight. Russian drone attack, that is. This will not make global news, but each incident like that is a tragedy. It means having to start life over from scratch, loss of memories, and numerous challenges. Russia wants to bleed Ukraine out. Okay, so this is in the Kiev region, not necessarily in the city of Kiev, but in the Kiev region of Ukraine. There was a drone attack being reported on a residential house here. We can see it's completely on fire. Firefighter crews here responding to the scene, trying to put this fire out. So go ahead and take a look at this. All right, guys, very sad to have to report once again, but yet again, another residential building inside of Ukraine completely destroyed due to a drone attack. This house probably took a direct hit from a Shahed drone that was incoming. If you notice, they also had a Ukrainian flag here in the front, and I wonder if that was the reason why this house was targeted. Maybe this drone happened to detect that there was a Ukrainian flag here in front of it and wanted to destroy it to send a message maybe. But yeah, once again, guys, very sad situation. Now moving on to another update from NOAA reports. It's nearing midnight, and that means Ukrainian UAV activity. Ukrainian drones reported in Russian airspace. Okay, so this is the only video that I was able to find yesterday coming out in terms of attacks inside of Russia. Looks like it was pretty quiet. I mean, there was probably some targets that Ukraine was trying to go after, but there was nothing significant to report today. But we do have one video showing Ukrainian drones entering into Russian airspace. I don't know exactly where this video was taken at, but we've got a 40-second clip here of drones entering into Russia. Take a look at this.
Что это, беспилотник?
Да хуй не знаю. Хуйня непонятно.
All right, so it looks like somebody was hanging out outside, all of a sudden started to hear this incoming drone, so they pulled their phone out, started recording, and you're able to see towards the very end over here that drone just flying over somebody's house there, okay? So there definitely was drones entering into Russia last night, and we don't really know what the targets were, but if I get more information on that, maybe we hear of some sort of direct strike on something, I'll give you guys an update later. Now for more translated Dmitry again, the result of Russian Bukanka hitting a mine for which they had been saving for 2 years. The driver was thrown out of the cabin and killed. Only his cigarettes remain. Okay, so it looks like we had some sort of explosion over here on a mine. A Bukanka, I checked this out online. I believe it's some sort of like a van or something. So I believe this should be like a Russian soldier, but I'm not 100%. But somebody landed on top of a mine over here inside of Russia, or maybe even eastern Ukraine. Don't really know exactly where this took place. And this is going to show like the devastation of this vehicle, completely destroyed. Apparently the driver was thrown out and killed, and only his cigarettes remain. There will be some subtitles in this video. It's about 1 minute long. Take a look at this.
В общем, как-то вот так. Вон Мишанина дверь лежит. Вот у нас что осталось. Вот они вот сюда наехали. Вот что осталось от буханки нашей, единственной. Просто в хлам, блядь. Собирали на нее года пол, блядь. Мишаня погиб. Он аж вылетел, блядь, из кабины. Второй паренек тяжелый. Тут везде нахуй мины эти, блядь. А Мишаня уже вот здесь лежал. Вон даже его сигареты с зажигалкой.
All right, so just a quick correction on this. So I believe this was being used for military purposes. It looks like these are even Russian soldiers here. But from what I understood online, these bukankas are also used to like transport military equipment. And it looks like this one could have been like converted into some sort of truck, or maybe they have different styles. I'm not really sure. But when I checked about this online, it looks like these were some type of vans, but this one kind of looks like a truck or has some sort of truck bed on the back. But we could definitely see massive damage here from it. This vehicle that was completely destroyed, and it looks like the driver was killed. Okay, so pretty insane. Looks like that most likely happened in somewhere inside of eastern Ukraine. Also, for Max 24, Ukraine has produced over 30,000 Baba Yaga type drones bombers in a year, said the Minister of Strategic Industries, Smetanin. So these Baba Yaga drones, I've talked about these in the past. Okay, these are much larger FPV drones. And if you look right here on the bottom, there's like a yellow grenade, okay? They attach like these large grenades to these, sometimes incendiary bombs, and they drop them on air defense systems and, sometimes trenches all over the place inside of Ukraine, eastern Ukraine. They use these a lot on the front line to destroy Russian positions. These have been very effective. So isn't that crazy, guys? 30,000 of these Baba Yaga type drones that have been produced, okay, inside of Ukraine. Ukraine definitely is ramping up their production of military equipment. Also, from next to the UK to launch talks on defense pact with Poland. The UK and Poland are working on a defense treaty that will cover everything from fending off Russia to tackling illegal immigration and safeguarding energy supplies. This will be announced today by British Prime Minister Keir Starmer during a visit to Warsaw, according to Politico. This came out today. We just had Keir Starmer arriving yesterday in Kiev to meet with the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, and they passed on lots of aid over to Ukraine. Also signed a 100-year strategic partnership together, and looks like Keir Starmer is now going over to Poland to work more closely with the Poles, as well as Poland obviously going to be a frontline state at some point if this war breaks out with Russia. NATO gets involved, so we know that Poland is stepping up a lot of their defenses right now, especially on the eastern side of their country, and they may even get involved with what's happening with the UK and France if they start to deploy their troops over to Ukraine. The Poles may get involved as well. We talked about that yesterday in a video, so that's just an update regarding Poland. Also from Nexta, EU buys record volumes of Russian liquefied natural gas, according to Politico, citing Kepler data. Despite the cessation of pipeline gas transit, the EU continues to buy liquefied natural gas delivered by tankers, from Russian ports. At the same time, 95 to 96% of Russian gas comes to Europe from the Yamal plant. According to analysts, in the first 15 days of 2025, 27 European countries imported a record 300 metric tons of liquefied natural gas from Russia. In the same period last year, 760,100 metric tons were imported. Okay, so even though the EU right now is completely supporting Ukraine on the back end, while they continue to buy record amounts of liquefied natural gas from Russia, they're still fueling the war, okay? So it's pretty crazy, and I'm sure this might make some people upset, but this is definitely a case right now, okay? Europe is still buying gas from Russia, although maybe some people would agree that they shouldn't, okay? So look at these record numbers, okay? Just starting out today in 2025 already, they're buying massive amounts of liquefied natural gas. So pretty insane, guys. Looks like this year is going to be a major year of purchases for natural gas from Russia, okay? Now for military news UA, the moment of a Russian FPV drone attacked a Ukrainian military Kozak-7 armored vehicle in Touretsk. Ukrainian soldiers were unharmed. So pretty insane video that I want to show you guys here. This is coming out from the eastern side of Ukraine in the Donetsk region, near the city of Touretsk, where there's heavy fighting taking place over there. So you're going to see a drone crash into this armored vehicle, and it just completely takes the blow. And there's like some sparks you're going to see on the inside of this vehicle as well. These two men that are driving, the Ukrainian soldiers, they get scared whenever this thing blows up. But take a look at this, pretty insane. All right, this is the second time now that we've seen a video similar to this. I showed you guys one recently of Ukrainian soldiers. I think it was in the Kursk region, and they were driving a Max Pro MRAP. And same thing, we had a Russian drone crash right into the windshield of one of these armored vehicles, and it completely saved these troops. Okay, so once again, looks like the armored vehicles are really helping out in terms of drone attacks. Okay, on the Ukrainian side. Now, for Mosin Defender, the Romanian Ministry of Defense is reporting that its national airspace was breached last night during a Russian drone attack against the Odessa region of southern Ukraine, with a Russian drone being discovered near the city of Tulsea. I don't know if it's Tulsi or Tulsea in northeastern Romania. Northeast Romania, excuse me, near the border with Ukraine. Okay, so once again, another report in Romania of Russian drones entering their airspace. It's always near this city of Tulsea. Okay, I could be pronouncing that wrong. I really don't know how to say it, but I believe it's Tulsea. And yeah, it looks like we have yet again another incident of this. So I'm actually going to do a separate video on this later today. We'll go more in depth and we'll talk about this because it looks like the Romanians did find a drone on their territory. Here's the official reports also from Nexta. Breaking, Romania put fighter jets in the air overnight in response to Russian drone attacks on Ukrainian towns along the Danube River. Romanian media reported that one of the drones may have crashed on Romanian territory. So this was the original report coming out from DG24, and this is like a news channel inside of Romania. They usually cover these attacks whenever this happens. This was like a video showing an attack inside of Ukraine just over the Danube River. This was the town of Kilja, I think is how you pronounce it. I might be wrong on that, but again, we'll do a separate video on this later, and I'll show you guys the video footage. Apparently, there was a drone that was found inside of Romanian territory, and we'll cover that later today, okay? Now from UA Voyager, war-torn Ukrainian land. Take a look at this picture, guys. Absolutely insane that, you know, look at all these artillery shells and just explosions all over the battlefield inside of Ukraine. And I remember seeing a picture not too far back, probably about 6 months ago. We had a picture that we showed you guys one time here showing satellite imagery from space, and you could literally see the front line inside of Ukraine just completely battered with all these explosions everywhere. So this is what Ukrainian land looks like, okay, in eastern Ukraine. Now moving on to military news UA, Trump plans to tighten sanctions on Russia to force peace. According to Bloomberg, the proposed measures includes raising the price of Russian oil above $60 a barrel and tightening sanctions on ships transporting the oil. Trump is ready for goodwill measures if Putin agrees to a peace deal. So this information actually broke yesterday, but it came out after we released our updates regarding the Ukraine war, so I wanted to cover it today. But it says here, Trump team readies oil sanctions plan for Russia deal, Iran squeeze. Measures are being considered with a view to end Ukraine war. Iranian Venezuelan oil port exports climbed under Biden presidency. Okay, so from what I understand from this story is that the Trump team is going to be putting more sanctions onto Russia, even tightening the squeeze and the noose on Russia's economy even further. They're also going to be putting sanctions on Iran and also Venezuela with their exports, their oil exports, and also considering raising the price of Russian oil above $60 a barrel. So this is most likely going to put more pressure on Russia's economy, even going after their shadow fleet. So this was a big report coming out yesterday, and we should be expecting that from the Trump administration soon. Okay, also from Iran Spectator, breaking news, Iran and Russia will sign the landmark military deal today in Moscow. Iranian President Pezeshkian is heading to Moscow to sign a 20-year pact with Vladimir Putin. Iran's military is about to change. Okay, so this is a big report today as well. We've been hearing about this for the last week or so, that Iran was going to be heading to Moscow to sign a major strategic partnership or military agreement with Russia. They're going to be closely gaining their ties with each other, just like what we're seeing with North Korea and Russia already. Now this is happening with Iran. So this is going to be a big problem for the West, okay? And it looks like this meeting has already been held. I've got some more information on that right here from Iran Spectator again. Breaking news, the Russia-Iran deal has been signed. Russia and Iran have solidified a historic alliance with the signing of a landmark 20-year strategic agreement at the Kremlin. This will grow Iran's defenses tenfold and will turn Iran into a major trading hub. Okay, so Iran's going to be getting some major upgrades here very soon as they're going to be working closely with Russia. We've already been seeing that with North Korea right now. They've been getting upgraded ballistic missiles and firing all kinds of ballistic missiles into the ocean near Japan. It looks like Iran is going to be getting a lot of support from Russia now too. So this is just a video. It's not in English, unfortunately, but you don't really need to pay attention to what they're saying. I just wanted to show you guys Vladimir Putin and Masoud Pezeshkian. This is the Iranian president here, okay, meeting with Putin, and they're signing this new strategic partnership. So take a look at this.
Президент Российской Федерации Владимир Владимирович Путин и президент Исламской Республики Иран Масуд Пезешкиан подписывают договор о всеобъемлющем стратегическом партнерстве между Российской Федерацией и Исламской Республикой Иран.
در خاتمه مذاکرات فیمابین جمهوری اسلامی ایران و فدراسیون روسیه در سطح عالی، رئیس جمهور فدراسیون روسیه جناب آقای ولادیمیر ولادیمیریچ پوتین و رئیس جمهور اسلامی ایران جناب آقای مسعود پزشکیان معاهده مشارکت جامعه راهبردی بین فدراسیون روسیه و جمهوری اسلامی ایران را امضا می‌نمایند.
Президент Российской Федерации Владимир
All right, so this is good news for Russia, good news for North Korea now that Iran is jumping on board with these strategic partnerships as well. But this is very bad news for the West, bad news for Ukraine. And I'm curious to see how the West is going to respond to this. Now that we have Donald Trump coming into office, we know that he's very hard on Iran, and he's most likely going to return to being like that with them. We'll probably see more sanctions on Iran here again very soon. We're kind of hearing that already. But I'm curious to see how Trump is going to respond to this. I'm sure there will be some sort of response coming very soon. We'll give you guys an update on that at a later time. Now, from next to the Kremlin does not expect a change in the U.S. position on the Ukrainian conflict, despite statements about readiness for a dialogue, Peskov said. Okay, so this is an interesting statement coming out from Dmitry Peskov, who's the spokesperson for the Kremlin. So he's stating that he doesn't expect any kind of change in U.S. position, okay, in terms of the Ukrainian conflict. So even though they're talking about trying to end this war, he's not expecting the war to come to an end, is kind of what I see from what he's stating here, but maybe he's talking about some other things. Let me know what you think about that down below. But this was a new statement coming out today from Dmitry Peskov. Now from Max 24, at the end of September 2024, the U.S. secretly invested $1.5 billion in the development of UAV production in Ukraine, according to the New York Times. So I thought this was interesting as well, okay, because what have we been seeing over the last maybe 6 weeks or so? We've been seeing massive Ukrainian drone attacks all over Russia nearly every night, okay? We're talking every night. Prior to that, let's jump back maybe 4 or 5 months, okay? Just back, towards the end of summer, there was drone attacks happening in Russia, but not nearly every night like we're seeing now. Like here, we're seeing almost 100 drones or so every single night going into Ukraine. So this would not surprise me if the United States secretly invested $1.5 billion, okay, to develop all these drones. So that was pretty crazy news coming out today. Also, for more translated Dmitry, inside a Russian transport plane filled to the brim with critically wounded servicemen who cannot be treated on the ground. So this was a new video that came out yesterday of somebody inside of a Russian transport plane. You're going to see lots of wounded Russian soldiers here on this aircraft, most likely heading back to Russia to a hospital. So take a look at this.
Полный борт раненых. Очень много парней.
All right, we can see a full house here on this aircraft with all these wounded Russian soldiers, and you can see here they utilize every bit of space they have, stacking all these bunks. Looks like they got 3 per set here. Okay, actually 4. Looks like somebody might even be on the ground here too. So pretty crazy, guys. This is a result of this war, and even though Russia attacked Ukraine, this is the result of all the lost Russian soldiers and the wounded soldiers in battle. So even though Ukraine's taking losses, the Russians are as well, okay? So now from Uncle Sam's Naughty Fella, took years to find, but seems there is one in Russia who makes sense, somewhere in Moscow, no less. So I've got a video here, which is pretty rare actually, excuse me, but we have a Russian citizen that is basically complaining about the war and saying that this war should come to an end. She's also claiming that like 300,000 soldiers on the Russian side have died. And I want to show you guys this because generally a lot of Russians don't talk like this. So I don't know how old of a video this is. Some people were saying this video was potentially a year old or so, but I've never seen it before and it was just popping up today for me. So I'm going to show you guys this, that there are some Russians that clearly are not happy with this war and would like for it to end as soon as possible. So it's 1 minute long. Take a look at this.
Хватит крови, хватит ненависти, хватит этого всего. Он убил детей Украины. Сколько наших солдат погибло, сколько украинских врут. Больше 300 тысяч наших солдат убили. Ему не жалко. Они крови не боятся. Они ведь не воюют сами. Они наживаются на этой войне. Сколько появилось, скажите, пожалуйста, миллиардеров за эту войну. Он предатель нашей страны, предатель, Путин. Из людей делает холопов. И вся у него нелегитимная власть, его никто не избирал. И этих, я их считаю нелюдями. Это не люди. Ой, все из-за них, ребята. Мне уже много лет, они меня могут только убить. Хочу крикнуть, это же люди, мы же люди. Без людей ничего нет. Нет ничего. Что мы их слушаем? Нас 140 миллионов. Неужели мы не можем встать и сказать, уходи отсюда?
All right, so pretty kind of sad to see a video like this, I guess. But, like I said, there are some Russians that believe this war should come to an end. If you notice here, she was saying too, imagine how many people became billionaires off this war. And obviously wars do make people rich, others poor. Many people want to say that this war should come to an end. And I'd have to agree with her. And hopefully it does come to a safe end here very soon, and the suffering can end on both sides for the Russian people and the Ukrainian people. But yeah, pretty crazy video coming out there. Just wanted to show you that there are some people in Russia that do want the war to end. Maybe there's quite a few that don't really mind that it's continuing, but there are some people that feel the opposite, okay? So now from Max 24, Ukrainian air defense shot down 33 out of 50 Shahed UAVs, 10 UAVs suppressed by electronic warfare, 0 out of 2 Iskander-M missiles being shot down as well. Okay, so here's our daily updates regarding the drones entering into Ukraine. So it looks like about 50 in total and more than half being shot down, 10 even being suppressed by electronic warfare. And looks like 2 Iskander-M missiles were used also, and I wouldn't be surprised those are the ones that struck Kryvyi Rih, because we know missiles were fired into Ukraine last night. According to that damage, at least, there's no way that was from drones. That was most likely missiles that caused that. So there's your daily update there regarding attacks in Ukraine. Now our final updates of the day from the Kyiv Independent. These are the indicative estimates of Russia's combat losses as of January 17th, according to the Armed Forces of Ukraine. All right, Russian losses as of January 17th. According to the Ukrainians, 1,670 troops, 13 AFVs, 124 vehicles and fuel tanks, 12 tanks, 4 artillery systems, 63 UAVs, and 2 special equipment. Okay, so once again, quite a few tanks being destroyed. I think up yesterday it was at like 11 or something. Lately we've been seeing somewhere around like 3 to 7, but more tanks have been destroyed recently over the last few days. So hope you guys got something out of all these updates today, though. So much information that came out today from this war, and I want to thank you very much for tuning in today and hanging out with me. If you got something out of this update, please smash that like button. Also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell, that way YouTube can notify you. And with that, hope you all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless, and we'll see you in the next one.